to let you know we have that information, which is important for all of us.
It's recording now, Scott. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doctor. And Gerardo, yeah, please also introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, gentlemen. My name is Gerardo Mora. I'm the CEO of Biosphere, a 100% Mexican capital company that operates in the Quintana Roo area since 3 or 4 years ago. We are specialized in logistics, transportation, and disposal of special management waste procedures. Our first endeavor, starts focusing on Sargassum. So we display a fleet of trucks and containers, very large containers, 30 cubic meters capacity containers, made of steel of minery grade, which is based on a steel that it's called Hardux, which is antioxidant and anti-corrosive equipment. And firstly, we attack that area of the problematic, the transport, disposal of the waste of Sargassum. But we, since the very beginning, we keep in mind to develop a procedure to transform Sargassum into a viable product. So we started an research maybe almost four years ago, and we developed a very nice procedure in which we transform Sargassum using wood chips and another green matter and bacterial and fungus compost developed by us to establish a procedure to make compost from Sargassum. The interesting about this is that 75% of the final product is coming from Sargassum. It's not only just chips of Sargassum here and there, but 75% of the final product is Sargassum. The interesting thing is that we have developed a methodology to develop as many as transformation plants, mini plants that can be useful in different parts of Quintana Roo. So we are not looking for a single point or 2 or 3 major points of accumulation of Sargassum to transform it, but to transfer technology and to allow different areas of the coast to process Sargassum and to divide that huge problem into small solutions that can handle the problem. And in the meanwhile of this development, we found that it's urgently and necessary to deal with the bad odor of Sargassum rotting process. This is caused by a molecule called hydrosulfide, which is a very complex molecule because in the rotting process produces sulfuric acid that has a lot of impacts not only on health, but in destruction of machinery and electronic equipment and another bad consequences resulting of this. As you may imagine, if Sargassum smells like everyone else of us knows in the beach, try imagine this in a plant of 2,000 square meters is just hell and crazy. So we develop a vegetal enzymatic product that breaks that model, not perfume or simulates odor, but destroys the molecule that causes the odor. And the result of that is not only an elimination, a total elimination of odor, but a very happy consequence that all the sulfates that results of this chemical reaction comes to be a very good fertilizers and growing components of our product. So Sargassum in its nitric structure has two different hormones that stimulates radicular and foliar growth. That's why the Sargassum blooms in a very crazy manner in his life form. But all those hormones is very well included in our final product. So we are happy with that. We are currently selling this product into golf courses or hotels for maintaining their green areas. We are in the way of develop serious research of applying our products into growing of crops. By some happy accidents or serendipities that we had in the process, some of our workers dump seeds of tomato or habanero chili or whatever, and result that it grows, and it grows without arsenic or any other heavy metal. The fungic and bacterial compound that we use in the process was especially designed to capture the presence of these hazardous materials. And the one that tells you that eliminates those hazardous materials is lime. The most that we could do is to reduce the presence of these materials into a security level. Here in Mexico, the security measure for presence of heavy metals is below 20 parts per million. And our product is consistently giving 12 parts per million in the presence of arsenic, cadmium, and other heavy metals. So we are very happy to do that. And not for extend the conversation, but just giving to the point, we have developed abilities not only for this, but we are right now cleaning beaches, dragging sargassum, and in the way, we happily found Pablo, Ivan, Stephen, and very nice to meet you, Daniel. I hadn't the opportunity to meet you before, but we are forming this consortium of developing integrated solutions for giving for sargassum. So we are not only talking about containing sargassum, that along the conversation we are going to understand that containing is not the solution, is deviating sargassum, the proper concept that we are handling, to after that make a good management of sargassum, not only for disposal or extraction from the sea or the beaches, and then temporary disposal, transportation, final disposal, and transformation. That's and all of that can be made in the same spot where the sargassum is received in the different coasts regions of states. So that's in a briefing what we are doing right now. We are very happy to be with you in this conversation. Thank you very much for your time, and let's keep present each other.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you, Gerardo. And just continuing, as you are well aware, we have a mandate that we've signed together with Half Moon Bay that gives us the opportunity to develop this integrated ecological zone management for the entire bay, including both aspects, your coastal erosion issues and this sargassum management issues as well. And in this efforts, we are bringing this team for you to kind of, let's say, resolve any of the doubts that you may have. We received a questionnaire, and ideally is that we see it on the screen, we go through it, and then if you have any additional questions, of course, we will solve them. Through this questionnaire, we will present a Eurostars. It's Dutch subsidy. It's a subsidy that's financed by the Dutch government. In the consortium with IM Lab, we have been awarded about 1.5 million euros to invest in Half Moon Bay in a project that will extract sargassum using this automated system. Will come to a geobox container that we have designed as well together with Dennis. And then this goes into a container that Dennis has designed that will pelletize the sargassum, and it will be easier then, of course, for management, and could have even potential secondary off-takers directly at the source. So I will open the screen. Please tell me when you're seeing it.
Pablo, that part of the project, or potential project that you just mentioned, that's not ready to go yet though, right?
Not for the emergency part that you have right now. So
Right.
the emergency that is right now, not. And the Eurostars project, we have started working on it since April of this year. So we have been working a lot on it.
On
But
other
the
bays or?
Yeah,
Like-
actually, on the bay, studying the bay, analyzing, getting everything
Okay.
ready for it. But the implementation of the pilot will not happen until next year.
Next year, okay, okay.
And it
interesting.
runs until 2027.
Okay.
So ideally is that we come out with a product that's commercially viable and
Okay,
can be used for other bays. So it will be tested in Media Luna and other bays. But yeah, we are implementing it there as well.
interesting.
Yeah, so the general strategy and expertise. So what's Sargassum management? Please tell me, are you seeing my screen?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
So general strategy and expertise. What Sargassum management methods have proven most effective in similar bay environments to Half Moon Bay? So a combination of tools to offer a complete service that integrates a strong infrastructure. We have to come to the idea that Sargassum is going to keep coming. In the beginning, maybe 10 years ago, we saw it coming one year, another year it didn't come, so we weren't prepared. But now we understand that it is important to have a robust infrastructure in place that involves monitoring, modeling, predictive modeling, barriers, diverters, sometimes, and for some bays that have the depth, small boats with small nets that can be cleaning along the booms and the barriers, submersible electric emissionless pumps that can be used to pump the sargassum and pump the mud and pump everything that needs to be pumped efficiently into a system that we call the geobox, which is basically a corral that's made out of two different textiles that filters out the water but contains the sargassum. And initially we use a wet geobox that's at the shore, where the sargassum that has sand on it, that's probably brought from the beach, can be put into a wet, contained, let's say, area. That sand is loosened and lost from the sargassum, and then sargassum can be pumped to a dehydration geobox on land, which is also a corral on land where water flows out. Water can then be repumped back to the ocean, clean, and then machines and trucks and the containers from Ocean Biosphere and take it away. And as I've mentioned, we're working with Dennis on a new design that can turn the sargassum into pellets, which could be, of course, ideal. We could have a secondary off-taker and maybe even pay into this trust fund.
Also interesting to mention, the approach which we try to follow is that's the continuous process. So we don't wait until the sargassum accumulates. We try to capture as much as possible before it reaches. So we try to harvest as much as possible from the water.
right.
Before it enters. We cannot
Totally.
guarantee anything at the beach at the current stage, but that is the continuous process is an important aspect.
That's critical, because once the sargassum reaches the beach, the battle is lost. As you well know, it's a big problem. So ideally is that we can catch as much sargassum as we can offshore and manage it correctly. What's your experience with areas like Half Moon Bay? Each site is very unique. Sargassum is increasing every year, so things are changing. As you know, sargassum is also new. It is important to understand each bay specifically, so that's a big part of what we're doing with this program. We're doing detailed bathymetries, modeling, and we are also doing a new predictive system from another partner of ours in this consortium called Digital Earth Solutions. They're specialized in oil spills in real live weather events, as well as man overboard events. And now they've developed this new algorithm based on their system to also follow sargassum in live weather. So we can also do really good predictive modeling and this is run as well by Dr. Steven and the group of Digital Earth Solutions, and we can really make a detailed analysis. And when we have this very, very detailed bathymetry of the bay, we will be able to show you and be able to predict with great precision how it's arriving. So that's very important for us. To attend this issue, yeah, so it's site is unique. It's important to understand its day, and we need to have a robust investment in infrastructure to attend this issue and a budget to maintain and operate this infrastructure. For example, the booms, they need to be taken out of the water when there's strong weather coming in, and when there's no sargassum, we need to repair things, we need to oil things, and this, of course, is important to consider as part of the OPEX. How do we balance sargassum removal with coastal preservation and erosion control? This is a great question. This goes hand by hand. So a detailed topo bathymetry, as I told you, and the mathematical modeling will define a lot of variables for both of these issues. On the coastal side, this engineering effort will provide information to determine the size, position, and angle for the wave breakers. The artificial modular reefs that will be used to protect the coastline ideally is that they're positioned as well to redirect as much as we can of the sargassum, but also to protect the coast from erosion. And the amount of sand that is needed to fill the gaps to return the beach to the original design or even an artificial design, considering sea level rise and all of these issues, will also be determined by this in the next few weeks. And the same modeling that we use will also determine what's the optimum position for the barriers, for the deflectors, for the anchors, where they have to be put in, considering predominant waves or predominant winds. I could bore you with showing you examples of these types of modelings. And using this new spot algae algorithm I've told you about from Digital Earth Solutions, we'll be able to refine this position and manage and the management plan even further, of course, reflecting in savings in the end, of course. So, and we will also be able to make prediction of these massive events, like the one happened this summer, and try to be able to deal with it in a more methodological, well thought out plan. The deflection barriers and offshore control. What type of sargassum barrier do you recommend for Half Moon Bay? The barrier that's already being managed there at Half Moon Bay is the most effective because it has low maintenance and it has higher over and below water boards, so that it doesn't allow the sargassum to go over the barrier so easily. But still, as you know, that's just one of the tools that's necessary. The solution is integrated with a variety of tools that then can be used. And now when
Pablo,
Pablo,
can I have a?
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ivan, go ahead, and I will.
Go ahead,
complete.
Scott.
okay. I was just going to say, what, as far as functionality and efficiency, deflection barrier versus boat collection at sea. Thoughts on that?
Yes, and I will finish on that part as well.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
So the Eurostars project that's coming, Dennis is developing these automated vessels that go out in a swarm way. So he can probably explain this better, but these go out, they collect the sargassum offshore, and then they bring it to shore. And at the end, I will show what we're doing in a bigger perspective. So,
Okay.
but the problem is the amounts of investment, right? So to have these vessels offshore, they're about 8 or 9 million per vessel. So it's a whole different thing that's happening there, right? But for these automated vessels, Dennis can really give us a good idea. So Dennis, can you give us a talk about how they? So
this is a much bigger vessel than, say, the Mexican government is currently using to pick up sargasso, I'm guessing.
No, so we are
confused. Sorry, just to set it clear. Sorry, Dennis. Yeah, there's two projects, Scott. One of them is a a project that involves sinking sargassum offshore with very large vessels. We're talking multicats that are about 100-foot multicat vessels.
Right.
that are
Thinking would be out in deep water.
Yeah, behind
Yeah.
Cozumel, and we will be using the same predictive systems to use and get the coordinates for these vessels so they can get there and sink the sargassum. For some clients, they want their vessels to pick up the sargassum, fill these big sausage bags that we use, and then bring that sargassum to shore. But for this specific projects that are more close to base, so let's say that's the first filter offshore, but a lot of sargassum still comes to the closer areas, to the bay areas. And that sargassum is the one that we're focusing on. And for that, ideally, is that, as Dennis says, the most continuous operation possible is the best way, and to be able to collect as much sargassum as we can closer to shore, but offshore, let's say, before it reaches the shoreline. And Dennis can explain a little bit how that will look in next year when we implement this pilot in the bay with these.
Yeah. To give a little bit of a feeling of the approach, they're very tiny vessels. Very often people like, yeah, well, what can a single lift vessel do? So our approach is, you don't want to go bigger, you want to go smaller, but with many. Let's think of an ant hill. It's built in a day, and they can make quite a pile with those little things. So we have experienced in the past that we can have collect tons and tons of floating plastics in the deltas in the world, just with 2 or 3 small vessels of 1.5 meter by 1.5 meter. They just roam the water. And in this case, we want to deploy a small fleet. It's like a couple of them, and they push around the sargassum over the water to the right spots, because we can predict where sargassum will land, because we have these predictive capabilities of digital Earth solutions. We can push it in the right direction, and when it enters the bay, and then on the other hand, we push it in the right direction towards the pump. And such a very, very lightweight, you don't want, and the solution without too much cost. These vessels won't be purchased or bought. These will be provided as we can take the sargassum in. So we would try to keep the bay clean as possible without having a very large investment, so to say. And these are electric vessels. Here, for example, this is a vessel that used to be developed for the deltas that picks up all plastics. We're also having land vehicles. I can show you, because for the bay we opted for some more simpler design. Can maybe join. In a moment I will quickly join. I hear you, Scott, you're muted.
Can I make a short comment about the fact that taking the sargassum and not allowing it to arrive on the beach is very important against the erosion of the beaches. So it's critical that the sargassum should be taken away before it reaches to the beach, because that will erode enormously the beaches. That's a very, I believe that's an important point of concern.
Yes, and like according to Semarnat's guidelines here in Mexico, I mean, the top recommendation in their outline is please keep as much sargasso off the beach as possible. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
You can now share the screen, Dennis.
Sorry, I need to have a different computer for that.
Oh, I can share something if you want, or send it to me, and then of course I can share.
Also, or do you have the document for the Harbor Master that can also be used?
Let me check.
Has to join.
Just in the meanwhile, gentlemen, I would like to make a notation of about the barriers. First of all, the name barrier, I found it very unfortunate name for the technology that we are using, because barrier it related to contain, and contain is not always is not a good idea. It's ideally it's deviating sargassum into an area that can be worked, pump out from the sea, and definitely avoid the arrival of sargassum to the beach. But not attending these areas in which sargassum is deviating in a proper manner results in a much larger tragedy, because all the rotting of sargassum, even in water, it becomes in a brown water, very pestilent, very aggressive for the ecologic system. So it's very important to understand that the barrier has to have proper characteristics that makes it efficient and resilient, like very strong materials. But it's most important to give a good design of the installation of the barrier, and the whole operation of the barrier behind that. In many cases that we had found, we found strong barriers not operated well, that in the minute that the mareas, that the tides get stronger, or the currents, the oceanic currents get stronger, the barriers break. Is not a response time, short and effective response time in repair the barriers, and that developing tragedies, real tragedies, because the customers are not prepared to receive that amount of sargassum. We always have to have this methodology to lead, to handle all the sargassum in certain percentage, that it's always come to the beach. We like it or not, because tides and other phenomena, and we had seen real large tragedies, not for the proper barriers or not, but to the proper operations and handling problems in the way. Please just excuse me for a minute. I will just put my screen off, and I will come back to you in a moment. Thank you.
Okay. No. Hey guys. Just a quick question, since we're talking about barriers, I get a lot of comments in the community about, well, if we use a deflection barrier, we're just passing it on to the neighbor, right? And so I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, since
ideally it's a combination of these deflectors to put it, let's say, to when we understand the currents, the sargassum is deflected to a specific point where we can control it and manage it better. And then the barriers, the actual barriers, they can withstand a lot of wave action and hold that sargassum temporarily. And from there, ideally, is we have different systems, like the one that Dennis will show us, of course.
Collection, pumping, etc.
Yeah, collection, pumping, etc.
Okay.
To specific areas where we can then manage it and send it to shore, then can be taken away. Yeah.
Understood. Right. So that would minimize the actual sending it to the neighbors type of scenario.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Which is, by the way, a legal responsibility around that thing. Let me
right.
know that.
So okay, understood.
We were seeing your screen and now we're not, or are we seeing your screen?
I moved on to the barriers. I thought I just
No, please. This is really important as well, because you can then
so
also
this doesn't per se need to be a substitute for a barrier, but see it as an additional tool to that might be sufficient in some cases not. That's what we are still working on. So it's a very simple vessel with 4 floaters and some paddle wheels, and it's kept on purpose, very simple, repairable, battery pack in, and just pedals around through the bay. Can pick up the sargassum from barriers from the outside, take it in, can pick up, and it doesn't carry it out of the water. It keeps it in the water and pushes it around. That's a big difference, because the means of transport is still the water. We just push it around to the right spot where we want it. Currents can do the rest and pick it up at the end again. Obviously, there are concerns regarding safety. It's lightweight. They have cameras on board. This is technology we already have. We can recognize people swimming, boats, and it's just a simple lawnmower that we have in Europe, or those Roomba vacuum cleaners. They just go randomly around. These vessels, one vessel can see Sargassum. They all know about it, and they all pick up their part. It's in that sense smart. So what we want to do with these tiny little vessels, that's by the way not at scale, is to make it smarter, smaller, smarter, instead of go bigger. Because at a certain point, those costs, you have to wait until there's a lot of sargassum before you can do something. And we just want to continuously do it with some smaller material. We bring that to one of the geo boxes that Pablo is talking about. We just push it to a central location, and this figure that's just in a harbor still. And there the pump is located, and it can continuously keep on pumping while it comes in. Instead of waiting until it's delayed, you have to contain a lot of sargassum. So we pump it right away. We take it out of the water right away, and we pre-process it into the pellets or other packaging material, so it's easier for transport for everybody that wants to use sargassum for their products. We are open to have a look who wants to have this sargassum. There are a lot of companies out there experimenting with sargassum, so we are keeping our eyes open to have a look what we can do with that.
Thanks.
Is this clear? Because it's usually a very different concept than it's usually being used.
So these are small automated vessels with optical recognition and AI built in. So they're just going around on their own.
Yeah.
It's got paddles on the sides, right? So it's just sort of slowly moving around and chasing after Sargasso collecting.
And I always have to emphasize, because even with plastics, it is a really powerful tool. We can have tons and tons and tons per hour that we can collect.
That's great. That's great. How much quantity can like one little individual one collect, and like in so much time?
Well, it's like a patch of about a square meter.
Okay.
That's just that's the size, and then depending on depth, it will be more like how thick the patch is. You can push it around, so close to short. Sometimes it gets a little thicker.
Right.
But you can push that around, and you don't want to do it all transport. So originally that was the idea, but seeing all the images that Ivan is sending, that the volumes are increasing, we're like, okay, we have to change the strategy a little bit, and then we make sure that we make use of the currents. So we far away from the shore, we push it into a certain direction, let the currents still do their job, and then it's being pumped up.
Yes, I want to add because the Master Harbor knows that project, that the boats, and his comment was simple. He said they are small, they are smart, and but they are classified by the harbor by the toy, a nautic toy. They are so small, and we need to prove and we need to reproduce that because they are small. This is the comment of the Master Harbor is waiting for the project process to help us to introduce that technology here in Mexico, right?
I couldn't follow the question, the comments. Oh, you're muted, sorry.
Ivan, can you?
I think that the comment was that the harbor's master was interested in seeing the technology working there, and I think the vessels are so small that they can even be considered as a toy.
Yeah, yeah. So we call it vessels, but people sometimes call it aqua drones.
Like a Roomba. It's like a Roomba that's cleaning.
Yeah, for the bay.
Yeah.
How how deep do they draft? Like, how
About
shallow
12,
can they go?
12, 13 centimeters only.
3 centimeters?
12,
12, 13.
Okay,
12
12,
to
13. Okay,
13
yeah, so
centimeters.
half a foot.
Yeah.
That's
So
great.
it's-
I mean, because there's so much of Half Moon Bay is so shallow. Like they probably 75% of the bay is 4 feet deep, 5 feet deep, probably 5 or 6. But yeah, so that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah, so
That, that'd be really interesting to have a bunch of boat drones cruising around the bay.
push it in the right direction. It doesn't need
Yeah.
to do very complicated stuff. Go around people that swim, push it the right stuff, where the pump is located, and then you're done.
Wow.
Yes, they are they're charged the high resolution bathymeter to get the road, the nautical road. They have catch the Sargassum in the edge of the very edge in the north or the south, into the Sargassum with the road, in which then now with the high resolution bathymetry in their system incorporated.
Right.
Right, like we are doing right now with dinghies. That boat follow that road systematically.
Okay.
To drag the Sargassum to the specific point. Right.
Interesting.
Awesome. All right, so I'll continue with the questionnaire. If
Thank
nobody
you.
has any questions, of course.
Thank you so much, Dennis.
Let me present. Yeah. I think you have to stop sharing. Thanks, Dennis. Great. Let me go to the entire screen. And yes. All right, so we continue a little bit on some questions that were presented regarding the deflection barriers and the offshore control. What types of Sargassum barriers recommended for Half Moon Bay? We already spoke about this. Yeah, okay, so how deep should the net or curtain hang to be effective without disrupted marine life? This depends on several factors, from depth, the waves, how the bay is shaped. So we will determine the most optimal designs and determine the most optimal positions for the anchors, for the barriers. Ideally, they will have 2 or 3 different anchoring positions so that when the waves are coming from the east, from the southeast or northeast, which is the predominant, we can redirect it correctly and then be able to manage it better. Then how is it anchored? Well, depends if it's a sandy bottom. Normally we use a type of anchor that's called a manta type. These anchors have, let's take like a small system, a small leg or a small system that when it goes into the sand and then it opens up and then it doesn't come out. And if it's rocky, we normally drill on the rock. We put in the anchor and then we put epoxy on it and we let it dry. And then that's the system. And it's determined by the mathematical modeling, and that will be concluded in the next couple of months, as well by the EZM project that we're implementing in the bay. And maintained during the rough weather storms. It has to be removed normally during rough weather events. The barrier has to include a long-term operation and maintenance program as part of the system, this integrated system. Otherwise, it gets torn into pieces, and then maintenance repair it's expensive. Ideally, is that we can predict these events, be able to take it out, and when there's no Sargassum, have it in a warehouse after doing proper maintenance to the barrier, and trying to keep it with a longer lasting life as possible, right? For the cost of it, because they're expensive. Collection and beach cleanup. Yeah.
Sorry. Just regarding barriers, permitting for the Mexican government is okay. Barriers are being used up and down the coast. Is that correct here? And
Dr. Ivan, yeah, I think he's the great expert on this, but I understand that, yes, they're being approved. But now you need a program that you have to present. So it's now
okay.
Yes. Whole barrier here in Mexico needs a notice to the Semarnat. And yes, and this is a normal process. So we can do it on all barrier do it here in Mexico. All barrier need to notice. It's a simple document to send to the Semarnat, and that's it. and that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So now collection and beach cleanup, what methods were recommended for removing the beached sargassum while minimizing sand loss? What we've encountered is that pumping sargassum that's right close to shore to this wet geobox to clean the sargassum and take the sand off. And then also even the one that's being cartwheeled can even be dropped onto this wet sand box where the sand is taken off, it percolates, goes to the bottom of this box, and then we can pump sargassum to the land geobox or geocylinder, depending on the situation. The geobox can be reused many times. The geocylinder cannot, so it's a more expensive solution sometimes, but sometimes logistics, you cannot do otherwise, right? This is on land, and then the remaining sand can also be recovered from both of these systems on land. So it's two filters that you will clean out the sand from the sargassum. It percolates on the wet geobox, and then when you pump it, it goes, and it does go with some sand. Then there's another filter over there where you will also have sand percolated in the bottom, and then that can be brought back to the beach mechanically. Is there any equipment specifically designed for sandy, shallow beaches like ours? We've presented several, and yes, this is the equipment that we're implementing. We have this initial system, and now the one that we're implementing with IM Lab ideally would be fantastic for this type of bay. How often should sargassum be removed to prevent buildup and odor? During high season every day to avoid buildup and odor. A proper management plan should be effective and may have deficiencies in bad weather days and massive sargassum events. But ideally is that you have a continuous operation like Dennis explained. What precautions should be taken to avoid harming turtle nesting zones or reef ecosystems? Yeah, to extract sargassum from the barrier, to extract it as it's floating, to avoid, of course,
Avoid it coming to shore.
yeah, high concentrations, of course, and avoid it coming to the beach. Yeah. Biological and chemical approaches and microbial sprays effective at reducing odor. Gerardo has already explained that. He has those products. The
Gerardo,
question,
sorry, has there been testing done on the microorganism and its effects, like as it leaches into the water from like the coastal sargasso as it's rotting and stuff? How has the testing been on that as far as impact to the environment, to the bay, etc.?
there's a lot of tests.
It's a very good question, Scott.
Right.
Yeah, we had done exhaustive tests of the effects of the product into the ecosystems, macro and microbiology. The thing about enzymes is that it's a design molecule very different from bacteria or chemical products. Mostly chemical products develops reactions, and those reactions results in byproducts, and some of those byproducts are not only harmful but very, very difficult to take out from the environment and persist for a long time. Enzymes, our product is based on vegetal extracts that had proved to be absolutely harmless for the biota containing in the sargassum, mountains that forms into the beach. And you know what? It's very interesting to prove that if you open a sargassum mountain, there is a chemical process happening in the middle of that mount. But always biological process too. There is a lot of small flies, white flies, working into the sargassum, feeding from them, and promoting the rotting process. When you apply our product, odor-free, all those flies, macro and microbiota, is not affected at all. The flies going to be flying. That flies are not harmful for human beings.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it's good for sargassum to promote this rotting. So we have been testing this product not only in micro, putting macro but microalgae that are present in most of our waters. There is no effect in that.
Great.
And
And
efficiency, yeah.
Oh, sorry, Gerardo. Has Semarnat given you any idea of can it be used with any problem in these areas where it's stinky?
No, the problem with many of our governmental dependencies in our country right now is that are almost stopped in many of the procedures of reviewing or approving a lot of products. This product has not been applied or exposed for human contact or consumption. It's not necessary and special authorization for its use, but mostly because it's a vegetal product, it has no consequences. And I want to explain right now, or give word to Dr. Ivan Penier, because he had been a very heavy user of the product in different operations of cleaning and maintaining beaches from Sargassum. Doctor, I really would like you to share your experience with the product, because I am certainly sure that you are the most knowledgeable person of the usage and effects and consequences of the usage of the product.
Yes, it's simply outstanding. You put the product in the mouth of the rodent Sargassum, the smell disappear immediately, and not only in the rodent Sargassum exposes, even in the fridge, in the hotel waste
disposal area.
Yeah. You put the product, and immediately the smell disappear, and during for a day, right? For another day, and I can see and share and touch. We have a 24-hour without smell when you the rotting area for that product. Is my experience for that product.
Mm-hmm.
The record that we had registered of eliminating odors and maintaining the good conditions are up to 72 hours. So you have to reapply the product every 24 to 72 hours, depending on the conditions. Another very important thing, the product is designed to be applied into mountains of Sargassum outside the water, into the beach, or temporary disposal sites. And in combination with the containers, in which is ideal that you had been putting the Sargassum collected, or the geocylinders, or the processing plant, when you have these heavy and large accumulations, you apply the product there. There is no harmful in applying the product on Sargassum and water, but first of all, it's not needed, and secondly, the product dilutes. So it has no sense to put it in that conditions. The product sprays over a mountain Sargassum. The product starts to drip into the mountain and to makes its effect along the way. So that does not stops the organic and rotting processes in a Sargassum mountain. Only attacks the molecule that produce the odor. The other chemical and biological process that is happening into a amount of Sargassum is still there. And we do not want to relent or stop that, because it's part of the cycle. But that's what I have to share with you. And
Okay,
just talking a little bit about other products that we had found in the market. Some of them are really, really hazardous, because are based on bacteria that we had proved that had another secondary consequences. There's a lot of chemical products that, of course, results in a destruction or elimination of the odor, but being chemical and resilient molecules that stays in the environment and dilute in the water and come to another places, like not only fish schools, but coral reefs, the consequences are not what we would like to have.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, so we've spoken about how to dispose, reuse, what's the safest and most affordable way to dispose of this collected sargassum, geobox, small excavator, and then ocean biosphere trucks to Gerardo's location as well. And is it possible to compost or reuse the material locally? Yeah, ideally is that we can end up pelletizing it. And at the moment, Gerardo has, as he has explained, a variety of products that he can start using to create out of the sargassum that's being collected at the bay. And just to end, to explain what you were asking a little bit about the sinking of the sargassum, the larger project, the idea is to create a market for the carbon value of sinking sargassum below the photic layer. So ideally, and this is something that we're already working with ONCRA, Climate Cleanup, the World Wildlife Fund, and the Netherlands Maritime team to be able to develop measurement for the carbon, sequestered carbon, or CO2, that is sent below the waterline when you pump sargassum.
So this is a bigger project for the whole coast? Oh, did we lose him?
Yes.
Okay. I think we lost Pablo for a minute.
Yeah, I lost him too.
Okay. Can I get your guys's just a quick recap and go back to basics of why we shouldn't leave Sargasso sitting on the beach to rot?
Floating in the ocean. That's about, yeah, it's about, sorry, about the size of a continent. 95% of it ends its natural life in the bottom of the ocean. So if less than 5% comes to land, if we can predict where that 5% is and sink it before it gets there, then of course we can be solving this problem or making a great filter for it before it reaches the shoreline.
Okay. Pablo, can we just do a quick review or go back and do a quick overview of Oceanus and the relationship that we're building for Half Moon Bay? The original project that we started talking about last year is to study Half Moon Bay in order to possibly make some modifications to the bay to help prevent erosion and possibly rebuild the beach in the future, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so,
but also what you guys do is also Sargasso management.
That is part. So it's so am I still sharing? I'll show you really fast.
Yeah, I just wanted to recap that because all of our owners are going to see this, and we haven't done a larger community presentation on Oceanus yet. So
no, great. So yeah, basically what we are offering, and we've signed, is a mandate for this system or this mechanism that we offer that's called FIN-DBO, which is Financial Design, Build, and Operate, with a long-term vision for the integrated ecological zone management for the entire bay. And ideally is that this includes the aquifers, the mangrove, water management, the dune, the beach, so actually the sand, and then erosion protection. So we'll probably include, or most likely, artificial reefs to break the energy of the waves. And this all comes financed by different sources that we have already, of course, located several of them. To finance this, we of course have to offer this financing to you. You have to authorize it, and we will of course offer several alternatives. Ideally is that we can subsidize part of this with carbon credits for the mangroves. We can subsidize part of this with different mechanisms as well. And our proposal includes a long-term operation of the beach, the water management, and of course, the sargassum which is a big part of what's affecting your properties. The way that we worked for the past 20 years is we offer these turnkey modality. We have a large network, and we can make from the initial approach that includes a feasibility analysis, a return on investment analysis, which is normally, in your case, backed by a private trust fund. And then we normally come up with a risk grade for the insurance companies. Ideally, we also use a mechanism with reinsurance companies and insurance companies to come to an agreement so that these properties that are in high risk at certain moments, once this infrastructure is put into place, the risk is lowered and the policies as well. And then after this, we go to the second tranche of what we offer. I can show you if you're seeing my screen, I can show you. You can go into nexusclimate.org and you can read it all here. You can see a little bit how it goes, the modelings, the different technologies that we implement in different places. We're working also with some municipalities here in the Netherlands and Spain. You see the before and afters. These are about 650 kilometers of shoreline that we've implemented. This is the Hard Rock Hotel that you see next door. This is the team, including, of course, banking, which is, she's a visionary leader with a PhD in economics, 40 years of experience in banking, a master engineer with TU Delft. He's also part of the team. Guido's also a part of the team. He's innovative and is CEO of a True Nature Foundation. And me, of course, as part of the team. And we are bringing this system that you can read here if you go into Next Climate. But after this risk rating system is approved, then we come in and we do the basic engineering. So we're already past this phase with Media Luna. We are now coming into the basic engineering phase, detailed engineering phase, which will include a system for your artificial reefs, and will include some modelings for it as well, as you can see here. So based on these modelings, we will also determine what's the best position for the reef, what's the best position for the barriers, and how to manage this. So once we get all of this basic and detailed engineering finished, it's a huge package that will involve, of course, some workshops with all of you, and also with the authorities for a final design and come up with a final design. But then that is translated into an environmental impact assessment, which is a document that has to be approved by the government, by the federal government, the Semarnat. And once we get that approved, then we will be able to start implementing the larger parts of the infrastructure. So the way that it works is this first 3 steps. It's a small tranche, let's say. We've done that tranche. The second steps that we're in right now, which is the basic detailed and engineering and the environmental impact assessment, is being worked on at the moment. And then once that is approved, the larger tranche of financing will come in that will involve the actual infrastructure. So it will involve water treatment plants. It will involve an artificial dune. It will involve an artificial reef to break the waves. Sand sourcing can come from land, can come from a sand source at sea, and a long-term maintenance plan. So when there's storms, when there's hurricanes, we can replenish the sand either from the sea or from land. And and all of this with key performance indicators that we can then measure together. And once one of these is, let's say, ticked, we can reactivate the management. And the same for the Sargassum, right? Ideally, if we can implement the dynamic barriers, the other type of barriers, and then a system with this automated drone swarms that can come out, be cleaning it, bringing it to the geobox, pumping it out, and never have this massive event. And when they happen, of course, have an alternative to counteract this. And this is coming in a finance package for 25 years. So yeah, that's what we've come into. Right.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Do we have any other questions? It's a lot to take
Questions,
in.
perhaps not questions as such. I just wanted to re-emphasize that when Pablo was speaking about the larger project that avoiding the Sargassum getting to the beaches, I just wanted to re-emphasize the problem which the actual arrival of the Sargassum on the beaches, it causes an enormous amount of erosion. And that's one of the things that we would very much want to stop as part of the project.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and as well, the environmental impact, of course, of leaving it on the beach.
Absolutely.
The edge and all of the hydrogen sulfide and pretty much all of the in our bay.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Spoke about that.
And at this moment, Scott, we're in the process of structuring the legal part. So we're in the last part of structuring the legal parts for the international insurance and the export insurance as well. So the project will also be completely insured. And so we're working on that final part to then transfer that to the trust fund that will be created, and then we'll organize.
Okay.
that part.
For this year, can you all comment on leaving the Sargasso on the beach to decompose naturally and wash back out to sea with storms and waves versus picking it up? How those because like right now, of course, we have massive buildup, and it's 4 foot high and it's rotting and it's been there all season. And so we're trying to encourage everyone to start to take steps. Yvonne sent me procedures for beach cleanup that could help minimize taking sand away and such. But I just wanted to hear your input on the current situation.
Yeah, the situation is
Any
critical
thoughts?
at the moment, and it's becoming a health hazard. It's definitely important to be addressed. And then, this is an issue that was such a massive event that it's becoming a health hazard, I think. And it's important to clean this up and then be better prepared for the next seasons.
Let me make a note of that, Paulo, gentlemen. Sargassum phenomena starts on 2015, which is only 10 years ago. Most of the processes in life, not only on economic phenomena, but in nature phenomena, has a natural cycles of 10 to 15 years that develop naturally. That's science. What is happening right now is that we are looking for the first time in these 10 years, the first massive arrival that haven't seen since 2015 through 2018. Let's review what happened that years and what was the consequences of not being prepared to head up that problem in that moment, and what are the visual consequences that we are still managing. Most of the beaches of Mexican Caribbean suffered a massive erosion of sand, not only contamination, and some of them are still in a very, very bad situation, and I will elaborate specifically on that issue a little bit later. But most of the beaches suffers on a erosion that until now we can see it. I can give precise examples of hotels that are still dealing with that erosion of the coast, that had applied a lot of engineering projects to try to recover the sand, and they are still dealing with that. And about specific cases of contamination, there is a large hotel positioned as an upscale hotel in Petepech Bay near Puerto Morelos. Ivan and I knows very well that hotel. They be very responsible in the management. I will avoid to mention the brand and the name of the hotel because it's no need to do that. They have been very responsible in the management of the problem, and they had downgraded the hotel from upscale to almost family level hotel, so to speak. They had sell the hotel to a smaller corporation, and they still have many problems in get rid of the odor and contamination in the sand and the water of that hotel. And we can share images of that, of anything that any single item that I had been mentioned in this intervention. I can support it with images. So it's an emergency. It may be an unhappy situation, of course, but we have to keep doing something. Try to maintain not only the beauty, but the structure of the beach and its future development. For in the future, near future, we hope we start to develop and to apply all the measurements and the plans that we have been talking to not only keep the beauty and the nature balance of the beach, but of the Half Moon Bay, but to increase it in time, because I am pretty sure that La Corona de Playa, the sand size of that bay had been eroded in the past few years, and that will keep happening if we don't do something.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, Mike, George, questions?
Yeah, I have a question. When we were talking earlier about the barriers and deflection, and I think in your thing you sent us, you had like a tri-cat or something that would pick up the Sargassum and pump it into a pumping station.
No, so Mike, that was actually a different document from someone else that I sent you yesterday. But these guys are developing a similar type of pumping system to pump into these containers to then pelletize as well.
Wondering where that pumping station would be. Would it be better at the north end of the bay?
They're submersibles, Mike. So these pumps are submersible. They're electric, and they're soundless, and they go under the water, and they suck the Sargassum. The pump is underwater, and then Sargassum comes out in a hose. That's a discharge hose about 6-inch diameter, and that goes wherever we want, up to about 3 meters.
Yeah. So I think our biggest problem for Half Moon Bay is where do we pump to, because we're limited on beach access, right?
Yeah. Ideally, is we find areas where we can probably get out of those containers and pump directly to the container.
Okay. So
that's not possible. Yeah.
Maybe just through properties, perhaps.
Yeah, through properties. The hose goes through a property. We position the truck in specific strategic areas, and from there we pump it to the trucks, and then the trucks are taking these daily. And
so that would be like operate for a few hours and then move the truck type of thing.
A 20 horsepower pump can pump about 14 cubic meters of Sargassum per hour. A good 8-hour shift can move a lot of that, and then get out of those containers at about 30 cubic meters. So we fill them in about 2 hours, each one of these, and then they start going out, depending on the strategic area where we're at. If it's too muddy, let's say too fine sediment, we put a geobox liner inside of these containers, and that retains the smaller particles, and just the water flows out, and then the trucks are leaking. And that's the way to, let's say, vacuum all the mud and goop that's there right now.
Right.
And then whatever we can't, then we manage it. Either.
And it's got a return system, correct, for the water?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a bilge pump, and this water has to be returned to the ocean. Cannot go to the mangrove.
Right,
A secondary problem.
right. Okay, great. But these systems are not yet functional, correct?
They are functional up to the containers. So right now we can have the pumps, we can have the containers there, and they can be ready to be filled. The one that pelletizes the container, not.
Right.
But Gerardo has already a fleet of these containers that can come to any position in the bay. We can park it there, and then we can bring our pumps to any of these areas. We will have to connect the pumps to either a generator on land or to one of the properties. And then these pumps go in the water with divers. The divers are sucking in all the goop, and the goop goes directly to the container that Gerardo has positioned on the road. And then he comes with his truck and takes it away. And that has to happen continuously.
Okay.
After this, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, could this be used like this year to suck up all the rotted sargasso?
That can be activated immediately, but it cannot fall into the financing structure of the IEZM this year.
Right. So so I'll need pricing.
Yeah, the pricing is already, so the pricing and everything is can be
We're
the next 48 hours, Scott. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thanks. Just because obviously I want to look into the future for long-term plans for Akumal, but we've got the problem today as well. So trucking away is of course expensive. I mean, anything's going to be expensive, right? But I'm extremely interested in.
Yeah, man. I mean, this can really become an issue for your property.
Yeah, for sure. Wonderful. Thank you all so much for your time.
It's a pleasure, and of course, we'll have the proposal for you in the next 48 hours. So
Thank you.
Position to.
Thank you. Awesome. So nice to meet you all. Have a wonderful. Oh, George, question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
No, I would like to thank all you gentlemen for all the information. It's been extremely helpful. I own property that I've been dealing with Sargasso since 2015. And I must say that all of our options that we've tried to date have not worked.
Yes, sir.
So we definitely need a solution.
Yes, sir. We're also working hard on that since 2015. It's been very interesting as well. I mean, we were very specialized in coastal erosion. That's what we do. But when Sargassum started hitting, all our clients started asking us, want to be this opportunistic. We wanted to really understand what was happening and develop a system that could be replicable. And so hopefully this system can be operational in the bay, and we can start.
That would be amazing.
Together. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Have a wonderful day.
You too. Have a nice weekend, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you all.
Thank you.